Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of the Curious Card, a Pokemon TCG web series in which we're going to be looking at the more overlooked and unusual and I guess you could say curious cards of the current format. Um, and then seeing what kind of decks we can make with those cards and seeing if we can actually get some wins with those cards on PTCGO. So in this first episode, we're going to be looking at Aromatisse. So let's bring up the big bad chicken herself. Aromatisse is a Stage 1 Fairy-type Pokemon with the ability Fairy Transfer. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a Fairy energy attached to one of your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. Now we've seen this ability on a few Pokemon in the past. On the Kling from Black and White 1 and Hydreigon from Dragons Exalted, but this time we've got it on a Stage 1, so that means that Aromatisse is much easier to get out than either of those Stage 2 Pokemon. Very easy to get out, probably by the second or third turn. And so the general idea of this deck is to use the Fairy Transfer ability to move around our Fairy energies and Rainbow energies. Rainbow energy does count as a Fairy energy when it's on a Pokemon, as well as every other type of energy. And so we can move all those around freely with Fairy Transfer. So that gives this deck a lot of flexibility. And so the main Pokemon we're going to be pairing Aromatisse with is Mega-Kangaskhan EX. So before we look at him, let's look at the regular Kangaskhan EX. Not an incredibly overwhelming card, but as far as the EXs go that actually do Mega Evolve, Kangaskhan EX isn't bad. Triple Draw is a great setup attack, 1 energy, draw 3 cards, especially if you're going second, that can really get you going. Kindred Kick I've maybe used once in my life, but hey, if you're really in a bind, you can certainly try that. So looking at the Mega-Kangaskhan EX, this is going to be the general focus of this deck in most of our matches. Now Mega-Kangaskhan is a Mega Pokemon, so that means we do end our turn as soon as we evolve to it, but there are 2 features of this card that really make that worth it. First of all, the 230 hit points makes Megakhan very difficult to knock out. Even something like a G-Booster or a Black Ballista still falls 30 damage short of knocking out this big Mega Pokemon. And so that's a really big deal. There are very few Pokemon that can boast being able to survive G-Booster. The other quality of this card that's so good is the energy requirements, which is completely colorless, meaning that this card works perfectly with Aromatisse, unlike the other Megas, which have very specific energy requirements, like Lucario, which requires 3 fighting, or Blastoise, which requires 3 water. So using Aromatisse and Kangaskhan, we can create a sort of lock with this deck. As soon as Mega-Kangaskhan gets 2 damage to continue battling safely without the risk of being knocked out, we can use Fairy Transfer to move all of the energy from Mega-Kangaskhan to one of our other Pokemon, and then use Max Potion to get rid of all the damage on Mega-Kangaskhan, and then Fairy Transfer all the energy back to keep on battling with him. So we have 4 of these bad boys, because we really take a lot of punishment from opposing Pokemon. This deck doesn't go for one-hit knockouts like some of the variants I've seen, using Fliptini to reflip the attacks of the effects of Wham Bam Punch, which I should probably actually read now I think about. Wham Bam Punch is 100 damage, and then you flip a coin until you get tails, and the attack does 30 damage more for each heads you get. So if you get 3 heads, or 2 with a Muscle Band, you're knocking out any EX short of other Mega Pokemon. It's not the most overwhelming attack, but it certainly guarantees us the 2-hit KO on just about anything. Once in a while you get a 1-hit KO, but we don't really bank on that. And so because we're 2-hit KOing everything, we'll probably need 4 of these Max Potions to sponge up any damage that we take. The rest of the cards in this deck are going to be centered around helping out Mega-Kangaskhan. So anything that threatens him, the techs in this deck are going to try to take care of. And really the only things that threaten Mega-Kangaskhan are Garbodor, for which we do have 2 Startling Megaphones, and Dowsing Machine to get those back usually. And also anything that can one-hit KO Mega-Kangaskhan, because then our max potions are useless. So the biggest threat to a one-hit KO would probably be anything fighting type. We are weak to fighting, and so we do have Keldeo EX to take care of any Landorus that comes our way. Landorus being weak to water, so a Keldeo with 2 rainbows, or a rainbow and a muscle band, can do 90 damage times 2 for weakness, 180, knocking out that pesky Landorus. The other fighting Pokemon usually run in those fighting-based decks is going to be Lucario EX, which is weak to Psychic, and so we have Mewtwo for that. X-Ball takes no special or any specific energy requirements, just colorless energy, so just some Fairy energies is going to be enough to knock out the Lucario EX. Also a threat to Mega-Kangaskhan are energy stockpiler Pokemon like Yveltal EX and Mewtwo EX, and so we run our own Yveltal EX, and of course Mewtwo EX doubles for this purpose. If they send out an Yveltal EX that has so much energy on it, it can knock out Mega-Kangaskhan, which by the way is a lot of energy, then we can just send up our own Yveltal EX and knock out the opposing Yveltal with Evil Ball. This is also just in general a very good card, especially with Raichu EX seeing less and less play. Very easily abused by this deck. The other Pokemon in this deck are more matchup specific. I guess Keldeo and Mewtwo EX are as well. Yveltal we use almost every game. Virizion EX blocks status conditions, so Hypnotoxic Laser will have no effect on our Pokemon with Rainbow Energy on them, because those also count as Grass Energy. And even Emerald Slash can do 100 to Seismitoad EX, and that's a card that we struggle with quite a bit, so that's pretty useful. Xerneas EX has the useful Geomancy attack, which lets us get energy out of our deck really quick, Fairy Energy. It also has the Rainbow Spear attack, which is actually a pretty versatile move in that it can knock out Safeguarders like Suicune and Sigilyph, and hit anything that happens to be weak to Fairy for weakness, namely Dragonite EX, which can be annoying and has seen some play in grass decks. Other than that, we have a Sigilyph. Safeguarders are just very good in this deck, especially if your opponent doesn't play any non-EX Pokemon. So you can just send up Sigilyph and buy some time if you need to, especially if you're about to Mega Evolve, or actually just win the game if they don't have any response to it. I prefer Sigilyph to Suicune for the off chance that I'll get to Lysander up a Garbodor and Psychic it for the knockout, and then my opponent won't be able to knock me out without using a non-EX. So that's all the Pokemon except for Darkrai, which I'll come back to in just a second. With all of these different Pokemon, we're going to need to have a way to retreat back and forth between them. So for that we have 2 Fairy Gardens, which give our Pokemon with Fairy Energy free retreat. So if we have like a Keldeo up battling a Landorus, and my opponent switches into or promotes a Lucario EX, and I want to switch back into my Mewtwo, I can do that without losing any energy. Of course, I don't like relying completely on Stadium cards for something as important as free retreat in this deck, so we do have one Darkrai EX, has the Dark Cloak ability, so as long as we have 1 Rainbow Energy in play, we'll be able to use Dark Cloak to free retreat our Pokemon back by moving around that Rainbow Energy. That's all the Pokemon. The trainer line supporters are fairly standard. 4 Juniper, 4 N. Only really need 2 Skyline here. Just good for fishing out those max potions or megaphones when you're running thin on them. Colress is very good in here. We play 4 of that. You just fill up your bench really fast in this deck, so it's in general a very good card. Our search line is 3 Pokemon Fan Club and 3 Ultra Ball, so we can get out everything fairly quickly. And then we've got 2 Lysander. It's generally good to be proactive about dealing with any threats to Mega-Kangaskhan. So if you see your opponent building up a Landorus or a Yveltal on the bench, it's better just to Lysander that out and deal with it outright before it comes after you first. Other than that, we've got 2 Muscle Bands, good tech card, good to slap on an Yveltal or Mega-Kangaskhan if you want to try for that one-hit KO, that double heads on an EX. Just a good general card. So let's take a look at a game that I played with this deck on Play TCG Online. Looks like we're going up against Cyclist BE, and he will win the coin toss and will elect to go first. We are starting with Kangaskhan EX, not the worst starter when you're going second because we can use that triple draw on the first turn. And my opponent immediately flips over a Genesect EX, so this will probably be a Virizion Genesect deck, maybe a Beartic in there. We'll find out after this Ultra Ball. Our hand isn't terrible. We don't have a draw supporter, but hopefully we can triple draw and get one. We do have a Pokemon Fan Club, which is awesome on the first turn. And a couple of energy. Oh, okay. No, scratch all that. We don't have any of that. We got end. This hand is similar with the notable exception of no energy, which is disappointing. But we do still have a Pokemon Fan Club, and we have now a Darkrai and a Spritzy. So we'll be able to get, see, another Spritzy down probably with the Fan Club and something else. Not sure yet. I'll go ahead and play that. So definitely another Spritzy. In this matchup, when they realize that they can't G-Booster your Mega-Kangaskhan for a KO, they usually start going after your support Pokemon. So we definitely need 2 Aromatisse on the bench at all times. And we do have 1 in hand, so we'll have 1 by next turn for sure. We're also going to grab the Xerneas from XY, the baby Xerneas as most people call it, just because we are clearly going to be behind on energy at the beginning. And Geomancy can really help us get rolling again once we finally find a single energy. And so we're just going to see an Emerald Slash from our opponent, getting 2 energy on the Genesect. He didn't play a supporter this turn, so that's good news for us. And we actually top deck a second Aromatisse, so we actually have 2 on the second turn. That really illustrates how much easier it is to get out these energy transfer Pokemon than it was to get out Kling Klang and Hydreigon, who you would need Rare Candy for, and there's no way you would have 2 on the second turn. It would be very hard to do. I think I misspoke earlier when I said that they do the same thing as Aromatisse. That's not quite true. Kling Klang, of course, moves Metal Energy, and Hydreigon Dark. Aromatisse moves Fairy Energy. So, in case anyone was confused by that. But once again, we did not get an energy off of that Juniper, so we can't even Geomancy. We're going to have to just leave Kangaskhan out there, presumably to be Megalo-Cannoned or Emerald Slashed or worse. We see a Plasma Energy go down on the Genesect, so he's probably going to retreat and Megalo. No, okay, we're going to get Emerald Slashed for 70. And, oh, okay, no, I see what he's trying to set up. He's being very clever about this. He's going to do 70 to the Aromatisse with her Emerald Slash and get 2 more energy on his Genesect, his other one. And then later in the game, he can Red Signal again, bring out the other Aromatisse, and do 100 to that and 20 to the one that already has 70, knocking out my energy transfer Pokemon, both of them in 1 attack. But we do have the dowsing machine here. I think I must have realized what I just said after I played that chorus, because I might have most certainly dropped a Max Potion on the Aromatisse had I realized that. But we do have the dowsing machine, like I said, so we can get rid of 2 cards here and just grab that and grab a Max Potion from the discard pile and heal our Aromatisse off, and then retreat for a Geomancy. and finally get some energy into play. We don't have a Mega-Kangaskhan yet. Hopefully we can Juniper this next turn and find one of those, because really we don't want to put out any of our attackers until we have that in play, because otherwise we are opening ourselves wide up for a G-Booster, which would knock all of our energy on the field out of play, and that would be the opposite of good. So we're just going to get a Geomancy off here. And you may have noticed I put down that fairy energy earlier, or sorry, fairy energy, the fairy garden earlier. With Skyro Bridge rotated, this deck, this Virizion Genesect deck, doesn't often play their own stadium cards. Sometimes they'll do Verbank City Gym, but we're just kind of risk that. So I just threw that down earlier, and so now we've got that and Darkrai on the field. We shouldn't have any problem retreating our Pokemon at any point during this game. So we are going to attach another Fairy Energy, the one in hand, to the Kangaskhan, and attach a Muscle Band to Kangaskhan, or... okay, yes, Kangaskhan. And last turn we did get Emerald Slash. Doesn't look like my opponent has very much right now. So I'm going to Chorus and get a... wow. I don't know where Mega-Kangaskhan is, but I'm looking in all the wrong places, apparently. I am going to play the Megaphone that I drew and get rid of the Muscle Band on the Virizion, so that my opponent will have to either get another Muscle Band or retreat to get the knockout here. I'm going to move around some energies here and then get another Geomancy off. I'll probably put the energy, I think there's only one left in my deck, onto the Darkrai, because I value the Kangaskhan and the Yveltal a lot less than the, or a lot more than the Darkrai. So if my opponent goes after the Pokemon with the most energy, I'd much rather it be Darkrai. So we'll see what he does here. He could retreat and Megalocannon for the knockout, or just Emerald Slash again. I'd probably do the former if I were him. Hopefully we can Juniper into the Mega-Kangaskhan next turn, because we have missed that an unbelievable number of times so far. And it looks like a Plasma Energy is coming down on the Genesect, and uh-oh, Yveltal just got brought up. That makes me think he has the G-Booster. Also the 4 energy on the Genesect makes me think that. Also the fact that he just attached a G-Booster makes me think that. So this Yveltal is going down. That's very sad. I'm sure he had a very long life ahead of him, but he was knocked out by a giant metal insect with a giant G-Booster. Such is life. So we're going to Chorus again. Chorus has failed me, already twice? So this time, don't fail me, and it does not. We get the Ultra Ball for the Mega-Kangaskhan finally. What am I going to throw away here? Looks like we've got plenty of energy on the field, so we might throw away that Rainbow Energy. I've already got a Muscle Band down. It's not the most important card in here anyway. So we're going to go ahead and grab the Kangaskhan. And so before we Mega Evolve, we definitely want to make sure all of our affairs are in order, so to speak. We want to make sure that all the energy is where we want it to be. So we're just going to spread it out there, not make any of the Aromateas too tempting. Don't leave any energy on them. And we'll put 3 on the Mega-Kangaskhan EX, because it's very unlikely he will be knocked out this next turn, unless we see something crazy like Red Signal, Verbank Laser, and that would be the saddest thing. So we'll see if he just knocks out the Xerneas, or if he's lucky he has like another Red Signal, another Plasma Energy for the Red Signal. I don't know who he'd bring out though. He'd probably get one of my other EXs, just so he can try to get some straight knockout, just 3 straight knockouts on EXs and win the game like that. This is a Barracuda deck. It looks like there are 2 Cubchoo in the discard pile. Looks like he decided those wouldn't be too valuable, which is pretty much true. Just because the Fairy Garden and the Darkrai, all of our Pokemon that have Fairy or Rainbow Energy on them have no retreat cost, so Barracuda would actually do 20. And we actually are G-Booster. We get Red Signaled and G-Booster. We see a Shadow Triad bringing back the Plasma Energy, and then Yeah, he decides he wants the first hit on this Mega-Kangaskhan, but we've got bad news for him. We have the max potion in hand, so just like that, 200 damage off of Mega-Kangaskhan. So we use the Fairy Transfer, move all the energy off, and then max potion, and then later this turn we'll certainly move all those back. I'd really prefer to end here, but my opponent doesn't have a very large hand, and nothing else in my hand looks particularly important, especially that Keldeo. I want that out of my deck. I have the option to use that Megaphone right now, but I kind of want that G-Booster to stay stuck on this Genesect that's about to be damaged heavily. So I think we're going to save that for later, maybe. And, oh, one head's, okay, just one head. So 130, like I said, we don't really rely on one-hit KOs. They don't happen often. It's certainly nice when they do. But I'm very content with just a minimum of 100 damage every turn. And it looks like my opponent's going to end me to 6 cards. He's only going to get 4. We draw another line of Kangaskhan, a Sigilif, which could be relevant later in the game. He gets another Genesect down. And we'll see what he decides to do here. Might Emerald Slash again to power up the other Genesect. Oh, we see another Plasma Energy coming down. We might get another knockout here if something crazy happens, like on the G-boosted Genesect, like with an energy switch. But no, it's just going to bring out the Aromatisse and Megalo-Cannon, doing 120 to something on my bench. Not sure what I would pick here, even. Depends what he has in his deck. If he plays any lasers or maybe a Deoxys, that would be really scary. Then he should target down the Kangaskhan, which it looks like that's exactly what he does. Now, one of the things I probably should play in here that I don't is Sacred Ash, or some kind of recovery card. We discarded our other Aromatisse earlier, so this is actually our last Aromatisse. So we're just going to bench the Sigilif here, I think. It could be relevant later, especially with that G-Booster stuck on the damaged Genesect. He's not going to be able to G-Booster anytime soon, and that's really the only way this deck has to deal with Sigilif. So I think that'll be useful for later. But right now we're not in a terrible position. We're about to Wham Bam Punch this Genesect. We're not going to look for a max potion just yet. Only 20 damage on us. So later we can use that. We have the Lysander in hand, so if he isn't able to do much damage to us next turn, we can Lysander up something with energy on it and just knock it out. So we'll see if he leaves this guy active, this Genesect, and just attacks me or retreats to an Emerald Slash, or if there are energy switch shenanigans. Really anything can happen in this deck. It's very simple, but at the same time, a lot of options usually. And it looks like he might be opting for that Emerald Slash route. Yep, there's a switch. And so we'll get 50 on us. So we may play a max potion if we get it. Just because it's risky not to, because our Aromatisse could really go down at any time if he plays a Shadow Triad or has another Plasma Energy. I don't remember how many he has left, though he has certainly played a lot. So we'll see. We'll probably end here and see if we can draw one. Probably should have played that Ultra Ball first, just to thin out my deck. Misplay. But we do draw not one, but 2 max potions. So we'll probably go ahead and heal off that Kangaskhan. We might even retreat to the Sigilif. We have a Rainbow Energy, so we can actually Psychic for 70, and then knock out the Virizion with a Wham Bam Punch the turn after that. And it looks like that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we'll transfer the energy, and then drop a max potion on the damaged Mega-Kangaskhan, healing that up. That way, if our Aromatisse gets red signaled, then the max potions aren't completely dead cards for the rest of the game, which they are if Aromatisse goes down. Looks like I am considering that. I think I eventually do. Yeah, it's too tempting. I think at this point I've realized about the Aromatisse danger. So we'll move around our energy, move it to Mega-Kangaskhan where it's the safest. Also good to look at here in case the Aromatisse gets knocked out. We want to make sure our energy is spread in a way that it's actually useful to us. So just 2 on the Mega-Kangaskhan, we'll hopefully be able to draw another energy if something crazy happens here. So we see a big chorus from our opponent for 9 cards. We'll see what that gets him. Like I said, I don't remember how many plasma he's played, but that would certainly be disastrous, or at least very annoying, because this deck really does thrive on Aromatisse. We see a Colorless Machine. That's actually a card I like seeing in this deck, because if a plasma energy is being summoned from the deck onto one of your Genesects, that means that Red Signal is not activated, and that's 1 less plasma energy we have to worry about. So that's actually, I'm very okay with that. Looks like he is also debating what to do. That Sigilif is definitely hard to deal with. He knows he's going to need to G-Booster that if he wants to get it out of the way. Otherwise, he'll need to Red Signal around it, and he's running out of plasma energy to do that. He's actually out of plasma energy. He would have to Shadow Triad 1 back in order to Red Signal again. Or, unless of course he has a Lysander. This deck sometimes does play Jirachi, which I'll admit is actually a pretty good card in here. You do usually have a little bit of bench space free. So here, we could Psychic again. That might be the more conservative play, since we aren't really in any immediate danger with the Sigilif. But I don't think I have many energies left in my deck, and I'd really like to take some prizes in case they're there. So I might get greedy here and go ahead and take the knockout with Mega-Kangaskhan. That Virizion only has 100 hit points left, so a Wham Bam Punch will finish it off, even if I get no heads. We're going to leave the other 2 energy on Sigilif. That seems to be where it's safest. And like I said, it's just a conservative play in case Aromatisse does go down to a Shadow Triad and Red Signal this next turn. So now it looks like I actually am going to thin out my deck. I choose to discard the Chorus because I only have, I think, like 8 cards in my deck. So I'm just going to grab a Kangaskhan here. It wouldn't be safe for me to Chorus this game just because I have so few cards left and there's so many benched Pokemon. So I think that was the right play there. And look at that, there were indeed 2 energy right there that I just pulled from my prizes. So it's probably a good thing that we went ahead and went for the knockout there, because if Aromatisse had gone down, or some kind of shenanigans had happened with knocking out Sigilif, that would have been bad. We would have been possibly completely out of energy. But now we've got these 2 left. Another danger is if that Aromatisse goes down, he could either Lysander or bring something else up, and we wouldn't be able to retreat it if we didn't have energy. But now since we've got these 2, we should be fine for that. So we do see a fresh Genesect coming up with a Muscle Band, so it will be able to 2-hit KO this Mega-Kangaskhan. That is, if we weren't able to Max Potion it, which we should be able to. Of course, we could see the Red Signal here. My opponent does have a very large hand. No, a Lysander comes down. No Red Signal, but a Lysander gets the job done just as well. So we see the Aromatisse being brought out, and that's going to end our energy manipulation for this game. Let's see, he chooses to do 20 to the Mega-Kangaskhan. We'll bring up the Sigilif and probably just start using Psychic here. We do have a Lysander in hand. We might go ahead and go for the KO here on the Genesect that has so much energy on the bench. Won't go after the one with G-Booster, and like I said, I like that being there. The G-Booster is stuck, and we don't want another Shadow Triad to bring that out of the discard pile. So we'll throw this Fairy energy onto the Sigilif, and I think that's what we'll do. We're just going to bring up that Genesect with 100 damage on the bench. Psychic will do 80 to it because it has 3 energy on it, and that'll be enough for a knockout. Looks like I am considering not doing that, but I think I go through with it in the end. So, quick Psychic for 80. And our prizes are, I think, a Rainbow. So, wow, a lot of energy prize. And a Lysander, my other Lysander. We do play 2 in here. So unless he ends me this next turn, we should have the game. We can bring up the other damaged Genesect and just Psychic that for the knockout. So really, if he doesn't end me, or something crazy doesn't happen this turn, I can't even think what that would be, we should be in good shape. And we do see a Skyla from my opponent, so unless he's Skyling for a red card, we will get to keep our hand. My opponent also running rather thin on cards at this point. I'm not sure what he would have left. Maybe he has a second Lysander. That would be an interesting card to have two of in this deck, considering you have Red Signal, but it looks like he goes for the Team Flare Grunt. Not a card we usually see in any deck, but Crushing Hammer seems to be being played now, and so I guess if that's a good idea, I guess Team Flare Grunt must, along the same lines, be a good idea too. But we just see the Megalo-Cannon, and that means that we have the game. We have the other Lysander. We're just going to bring out the other Genesect, and that will give us our last two prizes. So this is the Aromatisse Fairy Kangaskhan deck. Hope you all enjoyed the video. I will certainly have some more for you soon. Just 3 coins. Didn't get the mystery box this time.